explain what we are going to do. If some of you have some problem with the audio or something, just tell me, okay?
Okay.
So the idea of that is to create a debate, because we are all stuck in our house. So we thought this is a good idea to bring the coaches of every academy and discuss about some topics that could be interesting for everyone. So we create 4 rooms different. There are a room talking about players in different positions, another of the minutes that they have to play, and one is about the stat information. So the thing is, we are going to start doing like a votation, and you have to say in what formation Villarreal is playing in the next round. ¿Alguna puedes pasar, por favor? So the thing is, we're going to put a couple of pictures, and you have to say which formation is Villarreal playing, okay?
Muy feo.
Vamos. Juan Carlos. So what do you think in the first one?
Five, 4, 1.
Four, 4, 2.
Wait.
4-1-4-1.
4-2-3-1.
4-3-3.
So how many of you think it's 4-3-3?
4-3-3. No.
No.
4-1-4-1?
I do.
Yeah.
Someone say 4-5-1?
Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4-5-1 is an option.
Yeah.
Okay, so 4-5-1 is the one with most votes. And in the second one?
4-2-3-1.
Anyone think another?
4-3-3. Or 3.
4-3-3?
3-5-1.
3-5-1?
3-5-2. 3-5-1 is down a player, I think.
Anyone think they are playing 4-5-1? Like in the first
No.
one?
No.
So in the first one, they are playing 4-5-1, is the most votes. And in that one, it's 4-3-3 or 3-5-1.
I would say 4-3-3 for the second one.
I will question la siguiente. So we are going to put another 2. The first one now.
4-4-2. 4-5. Or 4-5-1. 4-5-1. And 4-4-2 for the second one.
In the first one, all the people think it's 4-5-1.
Yeah. I agree. 4-5-1 in the first, 4-4-2 in the second.
Yep. I agree with that.
No one think the first one could be 4-1-4-1.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in the second?
Definitely 4-4-2.
So we have, in the first one, you say it's a 4-5-1. In the second one, 4-3-3. In the third one, 4-5-1 or 4-1-4-1. And in the last
4-1-4-1.
one, 4-4-2.
Yes.
So 4 different formations for the same team. Can you see the scoreboard there? Say
Yeah, 0-0.
say 6:55.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Agus, ¿puedes darle otra vez? So,
Hola.
¿Hacia atrás, Carlos?
adelante.
Adelante.
Okay.
You got it. You got it.
You could watch now in the top of the scoreboard. In the
Just get it closer though.
that it's just 3 seconds difference between one and the other. And we say that they are playing 4-4-2 in one.
Closer to the mic. We can't hear you. We hear everybody else, but we can't hear you.
And in the first one, they are playing 4-5-1. There are only 3 seconds of difference. So
Mm-hmm.
when we speak about the formation, you think it's something like in the TV, the people of the TV say they are playing 4-4-2 and it's all the time the same?
No.
No, definitely not.
So is something that is changing every time?
Yeah, depending where you are in the game. If you up or if you down, you got to play different style and different formation.
So you think you have to change the formation depending if you are attacking and you are defending?
Yes.
I think it's all a relation to where the ball is and the different scenarios that the game offers. If a player's out of position and you have a 6, 8, or a 10 coming back to help, the formation is completely different.
If the formation is changing all the time, why do you think we have a formation?
I think it's a base. It's a base shape to get into when you have time to get into.
¿Puedes pasar a la siguiente? So now that we are saying that we have a formation just to start and we change all the time, I just want to know what you think is the formation. Just to know that everyone is speaking the same language. Someone can say me what's the formation in some words? One? Eso. Agus, pon la siguiente. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. Todd?
In my experience, is everybody else with you, so they want to talk, then we can hear you better. If you're just sitting there not talking, just mute your mouth.
I'm gonna try another thing. I'm gonna try to do another thing.
All right.
I have to speak like that. But... Can you hear me now?
A little better.
Okay.
Yes.
Try to
Yeah,
do
it's
it like
better.
that.
Yes.
Okay, so we put a definition of the Spanish Football Federation of what is a play information for days. Okay, so for the Spanish Federation is something like we said before. Is it the positioning or no? Or you can read it. So we could just, what's the formation before the center or goal kick, motivating, you can see. Vamos, pasar al siguiente. So how do you think the formation could help us? Someone say that the formation is just a base or something like that. Mike, maybe it was you. Mike? Está silenciado, Mike.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier that a formation can help set a base for a team to retreat back into defensively.
Mm-hmm.
It's a reference point.
Exactly.
And why we need that reference point? The coaches is the one that needs that reference point? Or are the players the ones who need it?
The players, they're the one playing the game.
The players and the coach, they should all be on the same page. When shit hits the fan, that's what you go back to, like you said, the reference point.
But you think the coaches maybe are the ones that want to have all under control? So we put the system for that?
No, I don't think you should ever force a formation on a team. You can't. I don't think you come into a team and say, "This is what I believe in. This is what I'm going to do." I think you form a formation based on the players that you have.
Yep.
So you think if you are a coach and you arrive to, I don't know, Manchester United, for example,
Okay.
one thing like that, you are going to put the system that you want, or you are going to change the system?
I think it all depends. When we go to all the professional level, is a style of playing. Every team on a big team, they have a style of playing. If I go to Barcelona and I play defensively, it's not going to work. Those teams, they have their own style. So I think they're going to hire the coach based on that style going forward.
And to see how they react.
And
so far it's just
yeah. So they're going to already hire someone, or the coach must be on, when using the same example. In the big teams, they're going to hire someone, or they're going to have a coach with their style. But when it comes to us, like I don't know the name who said, like, you base your formation on characteristics of the players that you're going to hire, that you're going to face. So you got to know them, and then you develop the formation with that.
So you think there is a difference? If we are professional coaches, we have to have like a definite formation for that team if we train?
Not different formation, but if you're an academy of Villarreal specific, if we have our own style of how we're going to perform things from all the way to the academy to the professional level, I don't think that has to be different. We have to adjust that. We have to make the players understand how we want them to play and how we as academy like them to play. And try to adapt as much as possible. Of course, I believe everyone want to play a very offensive formation, score a lot of goals, but adapt here and there, because we know sometimes we just can't with some teams that we coach. We have to change a little bit or tweak a thing here and there to finally fall to what we want.
And some of you think you have to put a formation depending on your rival? You are going to play versus a team who scores a lot of goals, you are going to change your formation, or you are going to play just like every day?
Can you repeat the question, Carlos?
This is over.
Saying that if we are gonna play versus a really strong team, for example,
Uh-huh.
you are gonna change your formation, or you think it's better to play always with the same?
No. You said 225 what?
I wouldn't change the formation, but I would take more
No.
precaution and
No,
adapt
that's not
what the style that I play. Let's say I'm a very offensive guy and I'm gonna play against a very offensive team. We're not gonna go shoot each
No.
other right at the beginning or going crazy. I would
You
take
want to
some
win.
precaution and knowing that the team that I'm playing against is super offensive and how can explore that without me being
Yeah,
exposed.
doesn't live here.
But that's not changing the formation. I think it's too much information when you change.
No, it's not.
A lot of times you adapt every single game to the other team. I think it's your way you play, and then you go from there.
Yo.
So for what I'm hearing, you think it's better to just put a formation thinking in your players?
Yes,
I think so. I think the better informed our players are, especially at the youth level, the better informed they are, the better that we set them up for success on the field.
Yep, I agree.
And everyone thinks we have to put the kids or the players in the formation that they feel better.
Definitely.
No, well, go ahead.
Sorry. Go. No, I'm the only one. No, yeah. Again, we want to play a certain formation, but if you see a kid that cannot perform the way you want it, or the formation you play, it's not that he's not comfortable with that, playing on this certain position. I think that's when you have to adapt. I don't say you change the formation because of the player, or you change the style because you have completely different players. You adapt. I think it's always about adapting, not changing everything to make the most for the player. I mean, if you take the best out of the player, it's gonna be the best for the team.
Mike?
Yeah, no, I agree.
So for example, imagine that you are playing all the time 1-4-4-2.
Mm-hmm.
And you are going to play versus a weak team, okay, that you expect to win for a lot of goals.
Okay.
You are saying that 1-4-4-2, it's the formation for the players that year because you think it's the better for this. You think it's good to change the formation one day to put the players in another?
Yes, I think that's a good idea because going on, like I said, you can get injuries. You have players that cannot be able to play, and then you won't have a specific player to play on that position. Someone needs to fill it in for that player that won't be necessarily the guy that always played on that position, but he's been there before. He played there before. He's comfortable player. He's a more as a joker. He can play in any various positions. I think that's a good thing, but I don't think it's good to be changing every single game. Like this team is played like this, so we change. This team played like this, then we change. I think we keep the base, we keep the basic the way I wanted to play. That's my style, and then you can twist here and there accordingly to the opponent that you play against.
And if that team, our team, is winning every year, for example, Todd is training the O4s and they win all the games. Next year, do you think it's good if Todd is playing 1-4-4, play 1-4-4 next year because they are winning? For the development of the players, you think it's a good way?
I think when you lose the games, it teaches a lot of things. When you win, it's good, of course, but it also hides a lot of things that it could be teaching the players. That's when the coach needs to step up. As much as we're winning or we're succeeding, we gotta always look for improvement and always look for what if we play against a better team or against a better opponent, where can I be hurt? You know, you can't get complacent. That's the point. Even if the team is completely successful this season and then next year, oh, I shouldn't change anything. I don't think that's mentality. You always have to look for improvement, regardless.
Someone want to say something more? Todd? So, for example, Marcelo Bielsa, I suppose that all of you know who is it.
Yeah.
Leads.
Leads.
El loco.
He said in a conference that there are 10 different play informations. 5 play information with 4 defenders and 5 play information with 5 defenders. And in the years that the players are in formation, in his young years, they have to know how to play every formation. What do you think about that?
At the youth level, I think for a kid to grow and develop, and here in the United States to go to college or to become a pro, and for him to know how to play in different formations would 100% be an advantage for that player going into college or to the pro level.
Yes.
I think him walking into a university or to a pro team and saying, "Hey, I've played 4-3-3 all my life, and that's all I know." I mean, of course, you're going to learn and you're going to grow at the new team that you're at. But if you walk in the door saying, you know, you can adapt and that you played in different formations at different positions, I think you walk in the door with an advantage.
Yeah, the more scenarios you present to the player, more adversities you present to the player, more prepared he will be. So, like you give the example, like having a winning season. Well, then it's up to the coach. Like they're improving or just playing against bad teams. Are they that good or just playing against bad teams? So that's up to the coach to recognize that and improving, presenting different scenarios, changing things when the player gets to a situation. Oh, I have experienced that before, so I know what to do. So it makes the player more complete.
Sí, pero ¿qué te iba a decir? ¿Pero todos en inglés? ¿Todo?
¿Quién está hablando?
Ni idea.
Ya, no, eso que eso. Seguí.
So we say that we have to change the formation and teach the players use a lot of formation, but saying the truth, how many of you are changing the formations every year, or are you just playing with your formation all the time? So thinking about everyone. Some of the directors, Jorge, Todd. Jorge, you hear me? ¿Escuchas, Jorge? Todd?
I know Jorge, he always switches the formations up every year. Since I've worked with them a lot.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. For me, the formation is about what the players you have to offer. Coaching several different teams, each team plays different formations based on their understanding, their education, their IQ, and things of that nature. I don't really, as a game moves on, I don't really change formation to win matches. I'll change dynamics with different player attributes and players. But each team I coach has a different formation just based on the actual personnel on the squad.
Edgar from Nebraska, you want to say something? Edgar?
I was just saying what Jorge was going to say, but I guess he can't talk. You can't hear him?
I can't hear Carlos whatsoever.
I guess he's busy. Well, since I've been with Jorge, He's every year he switches up the formations. So
we all think that it's better if we mix the formation every year for the kids. That we don't have to do like professional coaches and play every time the same.
I don't think. Yeah, on the two ends, I think it's too extreme to change a lot and not to change. You need to find the balance, and also need to understand that the players need time on that formation. You cannot just throw them out there. They play 2 games and say, "Oh, it's horrible. We need to change." I think they need time to adapt it, to finally get to understand the formation, what they're supposed to do, when to recover, when to go forward on that specific formation. I think you need to give them time. To after, I don't know, you decide what's a long time or a short time. It's up to the coach. Look, and then figure out, like, you know what, let me change it, and maybe they will adapt better. I have experienced that on my team here, playing one formation, and then after a while I wasn't getting the same result, and I changed, and they completely like did perfect on that formation. So it's a matter of time too for them to adapt. Would they adapt or not?
also, if you can change the formation up. It's just the style doesn't change though. Get that? Like you can change the formation, but the style you play is not going to change.
So maybe the formation is not really important. It's more important what we do with that formation.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I completely agree with Edgar. It's the formation is just, in my opinion, just to give your kids, the players themselves, a role or a purpose. Otherwise, they feel like they're just unleashed out there without a purpose. And once the kids have a purpose, the formation gives them that purpose. But it's really about the play style. So, like Edgar says, your play style doesn't change formation to formation. It's just about giving the personnel that you have and giving the kids a purpose.
Thank you, John.
For example, Saki, that it's coach from Milan, I don't know if you see it, Enrico Saki. So he say that doesn't matter the system, the important is the interpretation of the system. So how you arrive your ideas arrive to the players and they interpret that system that you put. I think most of you are in that way. I think we are gonna close the room for a minute because we have to refresh that. We're gonna have
Yeah.
Okay, ya vos.
Ya lo tenemos ahí. Una presentación, Agus.
No despistas, Agus, no despistas.
¿Vamos aquí?
Pon la siguiente.
Okay.
I think we are all here, yeah. Mike, Tyler. So we were saying before that it's more important the style than the formation and things like that. And we want to speak about some academies that have the same formation for all the teams. What do you think about that? It's something that Agus, pasa la de atrás. You think have the same formation for all the teams is gonna be good for the academies or for the players? Yo, por ejemplo, estabas hablando antes.
I think it's important to teach them because, like what I was saying, it's a reference point. It's a reference point in which, like the other guys were saying, right? You have a style of play. The style of play stays the same. But depending on the game is going to be more defensive or more offensive, or if you're going to play with someone that has a crack in the middle, right? your starting points, your reference points, the points that you're going to need more detail on, that's what the formation kind of stands, right? You're going to stand more defensive, more offensive, whatever it may be. And I think it's important that you show them a variety of start positions, because that's what it is, references, right? Start references, different references. That way they never get put in a situation in which they haven't seen before. You know, as a coach, more than just showing them the formations, it's showing them the game that's going to happen in front of them before it happens. So when they see it for the first time, it's really not the first time they see it. So I think I teach my kids a few different formations, because here in Texas, you literally get 2 or 3 different, total different styles of play. And it could be a horrible style of play, but if you're not prepared for it, they'll find a way to beat you. It could be, they can go without connecting a pass the whole game, but they'll be big and they'll be fast. That has to have a game plan to be prepared for that. You have to be prepared, especially in those leagues in which your points matter, where you get promoted and relegated.
Anyone that think that, for example, Barcelona play the same formation for all the teams? What do you think?
Yes, they do.
Barcelona is one of the top teams. What do you think about that?
Well, I think so. For me, I think if we're talking about pro teams, if Barcelona plays throughout the academy the same formation, I think that's a business decision, right? They want to create players. They want to make players that ultimately, at the end of the day, will help their first team. And if not, if they don't help their first team, those players that play well, they end up selling them. So if we're talking about a professional team or a professional academy, then I think the answer is different if we're talking about a youth academy.
And lately, Barcelona has lost a lot of their youth players to other clubs because they're trying to force kids to play a certain style, and they're killing their creativity. And there's kids that are just totally different.
Right.
And because they have that one style of play, it's making those other kids feel suffocated. And that's why there's been big news in the last year, 3 or 4 talented players that Barcelona said was the future, 15, 16 years old, and they're going elsewhere. But ain't the dream to be at Barcelona? But why they were at Barcelona and they're going elsewhere? So clearly their methods that have their ups and their downs. You know, you bring up Barcelona, like everyone that comes out of it is great. They lose great players too because they turn them off. Los apagan. So.
Anyone more want to say something about that?
One thing that I just want to say about this happens, at least I noticed in our academy in Nebraska, is our play, like we talked about earlier, our play style matters way more than our formation. And that it was really obvious to me that was the truth when it seems like all of our high school players, they play high school for us and they play center back for us, right? They play like a center back or a fullback. And then when they go to high school, their high school coaches put those players as center mids, holding mids, attacking mids, the players that they view as the ones who'll touch the ball the most. And that's because in our play style, we play through the back a lot. We drop the ball a lot. We possess. So our center backs aren't sort of the mindless goons that people want center backs to be, or especially around here, but instead they're super confident on the ball. And so it just goes back to, I think in the academy, and whatever Barcelona does is fine, but at least for me, in my opinion, in the youth academy, it's important to just tailor the formation to the personnel. Whatever that team, whatever that age group has, tailor to the personnel as long as the play style is consistent, because that's what matters. And our play style is consistent, and that's why they take our center backs from Villarreal and turn them into attacking mids in high school, because they're just confident on the ball because of our play style, not because of our formation.
Right.
So I think in every academy that we speak, Mike from Viva, John from Nebraska, Gio from Texas, you all say more or less the same. That you care more about the kids and what do you think is good for days, and not just to put one formation all the years, thinking in create that player for a team like Barcelona did, for example. Because, for example, for me, the formation is just like a point where the kids have a support, like a base, like Mike said before. But if we try to put kids in a close formation, like you say, we are just gonna suffocate days. So it's good that all you have the same mentality, I think. So Carlos, for example, that is here, you want to say something?
No, I agree with John. Basically, what you need to be doing is trying to, evaluate what type of player you have, and that's why you practice trying to make a formation that is going to strengthen your players. And obviously, you cannot die with that formation. You have to have some type of variation on that formation when you do a formation, like it's going to favor your team. But again, it depends. Your formation is going to depend also of your opponent. Maybe 5-3-2 will work with some opponent, and maybe 5-3-2 won't work with some opponent. It depends on how the games goes. It depends how your players perform, because your player also in academy, we don't have professional players. Sometimes you have players performing really well one Sunday and the next Sunday mediocre. And that's what it is. And sometimes you have 2-3 players missing, and then your formation, it goes out of the window. And so that's why you have practice session and trying to combine the 3 lines that you have, the defense, midfielders, and the strikers, right? You're trying to balance those things. And then you decide how many strikers you want to play, how many wingers, how many midfielders, how many fullbacks, if you are going to have fullbacks and stuff like that. So you play with it and explain that with your player, depending, again, it depends on the age group that you are coaching. Everything is trying to balance a little bit, and at the end of the day, we are teachers of the game, and we cannot be teaching them 4-4-2 formation the whole season. I think that's a waste of time. I think that, from my point of view, is a bad coaching. I think our obligation to our players are to show them, a foundation or a basic formation, and then you gotta also show them, hey, we can play, instead of playing 4-4-2, maybe when we are attacking, we can play 4-2-4 or transition to 4-3-3, and so on. And you gotta explain that to the kid, and you're gonna practice that during the week before you start playing on Sunday or tournaments. So John said, we need to adapt to our player skills, and I agree with that.
Basically, I think we are all in the same page. I don't know if because we all speak like the Villarreal methodology and we are really into that. I think right now we all have the same thoughts about that topic. ¿Puedes pasar a la siguiente, Agus? No, yeah. Okay, so I think we are gonna finish with one question, and it's if you think the playing formation is gonna have an influence in the training sessions. So we have to do different training sessions depending in the system that we are training, that we are playing. My John, Leon.
Does a playing formation influence the training?
Well, so I don't know. And I know that's not really a good answer, but I don't know, because we always like our training sessions to be positional, meaning there are obviously we're doing possession, so they're possessional and positional. So obviously we want to do possession-based drills and games, but we also want to be positional. People that normally play in the middle of the field should be in the middle of the possession game. People that normally play in the back should be in the bottom or the back of the possession game. So kind of generically, yes, the formation influences training session, but specifically, I don't necessarily know. Yeah, so that's kind of a non-answer, but that's just kind of how I feel. I mean, I always try to build positions into my training sessions, but I don't know if just because I'm playing a 3-5-2 or a 4-1-4-1, am I going to change my drills? I don't really think so, but maybe that's wrong, but that's kind of how I would think of it.
Can you hear me? This is Todd. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello. So like I think it for me it definitely influences because it goes back to the attributes of the players and what you feel they should be doing within those formations. So setting up a session, keeping in mind everything's play, everything's keeping them moving, holistic view. A lot of the directional guidance that I give them in training sessions absolutely has to do with kind of the attributes or the responsibilities of the positions within those formations. So one training session, if we're going in and we're working on a 4-4-2, what are the outside backs doing? What are the things that I'm working with the outside backs, their movement up the field, back the field, into the central portion, things like that. So I think definitely based on, the holistic view of having them play everything from the small-sided to the game situational is influenced by that from my standpoint.
Hello.
Yeah,
Hello.
I agree with you as well. I think whatever training session that you set up or whatever exercise you decide to set up for your team, I think the information you're providing to your players is based on what you want to see on the weekend. So if you're playing a 4-4-3 and you want those fullbacks to attack, and you're playing a possession game, maybe the information's a bit different to those attacking fullbacks than it is if you were playing a 4-4-2 and you want them to stay back. So I think the information does influence the players.
So maybe what we are saying is that we can use the play information like an excuse to do some drills and work in some things and create a style based in that formation that we want to recreate in the games.
Can you repeat that, Carlos?
Yeah, I think definitely the style in which you want to play in a game, in your training sessions, the information that you're giving players, the questions that you're asking, the thought process that you're trying to get through to them or that you're trying to get from them and understanding definitely comes from your intent on what you're going to do within the game. So yeah, for me, creating that style, creating that thing comes from that formational understanding.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to leave the things here. There are going to be other formations next week. One of the formations is going to talk about this a bit, about the training sessions, the style of play and all that. So I think we could keep the conversation here. I think we arrived to some points that are really good that you think that there is a difference between pro coaches and teams that are in first division and us in the young academies, not only in Viva, Nebraska, Force, or whatever. I mean, in Villarreal, in our main academy, is the same. We are thinking in the players, in the best for the players, not just in create players that play the same formation to arrive to the same team, to the first team. So we have to think about the formation of the age. I think it's really good that you all say that we are not professional coaches. We are working in formation in the youth teams, and to have that point of view, I'm really happy to see that. Another thing that you say is that it's good for the kids to prove different information. And John, I think, are the ones who say that a lot of the kids that they are training now, they are in college and they change the position because they know how to do it. I think it's another good thing that in other academies they don't do, to change the formation. I don't know who said it, but he said that it has to be balanced. Not changing a lot, but you have to change it sometimes just to give some retos. Mike, ¿me vas a ayudar? challenge
Challenge.
to the kids, because if not, we are all the time in the same. We are only teaching days one way, and if we keep moving the players, they have to think more. They have to learn from that different situation. I think that's really good. So I think we have some good things from that debate. I hope you all take something from here, because we speak about changing formation and all that, and I say it. Maybe some of you are saying that it's good to change the formation, but maybe some of you are not thinking about that and just playing all the time the same formation, all the time the same way, thinking we are winning or it's the best for me or whatever. And we have to think about the formation of the players and what is the best for this. So I think someone want to say some questions. Someone want to say something about this topic. That's the moment.
I just want to say thank you, Carlos, again for your time, and thank you to all the other coaches from all the other academies. It's great hearing you guys talk, and I think this is great for us to learn from each other and moving forward. So thank you, everybody.
Yes, sir. I second that.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, thanks for your time.
Yeah, thanks, Carlos and other coaches, everyone. It's good to have a good feedback, and you're always learning. That's one thing. You're always learning from each other. Learn now, especially with people from different states, and now Carlos over there. And it's always good. It's always good to learn and get more new information. Thank you, everyone.
Absolutely.
Yeah, good information.
Thank you to all the coaches. We have some problems at the beginning and some problem with my audio. But as we are all the time learning things. My English is not perfect, and Jano and Agus have some problem with the language, but we are trying our best. So we hope in the next weeks we could improve that. The audio, the things with the power, whatever. So we are trying.
No te preocupes, Carlos. Tranquilo. Todo
Don't worry.
We understand you, Carlos. Your body English is good.
We understood everything.
It was really good to have all of you here. Some friendly faces that I didn't see in a lot of time. Gio, for example, that was in Spain.
What's up, buddy?
John, Jacinta. There are a lot of coaches that I don't see in a lot of time. So it was a good time to see you all here.
Hey, for everyone out there, feel free to reach out to the Texas guys, man. Carry on these conversations, talk about the stuff. I know we reached out, asked for help from a few other academies, and they were gladly helped. And the help is here for whoever want to talk.
Thank you, man.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Adios.
Adios.